Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Shiko's World. If you are new here, karibu sana and kindly subscribe. Na kama we ni mwenyeji, welcome back. Karibu nyumbani, as we said hapa, tunapenda wageni. And guys, I'm so thankful. You people have been so supportive and I do not take your support for granted. I really appreciate so much. I appreciate you so much, so much. So today I'm back yet with another video. And okay, on my previous video I said that I was currently a mother of one, and I thought it was important for me to explain to avoid confusion, because I know I'll be confusing a lot of you by how I explain or how I say things. Like for example, if I want to talk about children, I refer, instead of saying my child, I always refer my children. I always say my babies. And so I think that, sorry for that, I think it is better I explain why I always say my babies, or why I always refer them to as two, while I already said I had one. So first of all, what am I saying? First of all, I would like to say that I had a son, a very cute boy. He was called Baraka, Creative Baraka. I know most of you are aware of that, but he later passed on when he was 8 months. I know people has been asking me what happened, but I've never come out to explain what happened. I've never had the courage to talk about it, but I think by now it's been almost 5 years. Actually, I think, yeah, it's almost 5 years, and some things are better said than kept in heart. 5 years has been long, and I think I've already accepted. I know, some things can never be forgotten. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, today I want to narrate and tell you whatever happened, and this is how it happened. I understand that you people are confused because he was a healthy baby. He never fell sick, and it was a sickness of only 3 days, just 3 days. And this is what happened. On 13th of September 2017, we woke up at around 10 a.m. Don't ask me why I slept up to 10 a.m. Mothers with babies, especially those babies that do not sleep at night, understand how it goes, because you are awake all night. So by the time it's almost getting morning, hiyo ndio time kausingizi kanaanzanga kushika. So we woke up at around 10 a.m. I prepared uji for him, nikampea, but after giving it to him, after some few minutes, he started vomiting. And as a mother, kuna vile tu unaangalia katoto kako, in as much as it's a small baby, kuna vile unamwangalianga and know that baby is not fine. So after giving him the porridge, he vomited. I tried breastfeeding him, also he vomited. And I thought of maybe preparing for him some food, because I was afraid there was nothing on his stomach. So unajua tu ukikunywa uji unatapika, ukinyonya unatapika. At least I thought of making lunch for him, nione if he could retain something on the stomach, at his stomach. So I prepared lunch, and after giving him lunch, it didn't work out. He still vomited, and at this point he was not only vomiting, but also had started diarrheaing. And I took him to the hospital immediately, and tukapewa dawa, tukatibiwa, tukapewa dawa, and came back home. So I continued giving him the medicine that had been prescribed by the doctor, and also I was advised to give him a lot of water. So you know, like when you are vomiting and diarrheaing, like unapoteza maji mingi kwa mwili. I was advised to give him a lot of water so that he could not be dehydrated. The following day, that was on 14th of September, that is 2017. In the evening, I noticed that despite giving the medicine that we had been given the previous day, there was no change. Like, you could tell he was still vomiting, he was still diarrheaing, and he looked weak. So we took him back to the hospital. That was on 14th in the evening. And funny enough, when we got to the hospital, he was very jovial. Like, he was all over. He was playing, and I couldn't even believe that we had brought him back, because he was not like feeling that much well. So the doctor checked him. Immediately he looked at him, he said, "Hey, huyu tu ndio mmesema amelemewa leo." And honestly, you could tell the boy was doing better. But again, that was still it was still a good thing. We were happy that he was doing good. So we were told to go back home and still continue with the medicine that he was taking. That was on 14th of September. On 15th of September, we woke up as usual. During the night he didn't vomit, and he was breastfeeding very well. So we woke up the next day, that was on 15th of September. I made porridge for him in the morning, and immediately after taking the porridge, he started vomiting again. By this time, I was nervous and I was getting out of patience. In as much as he was on medicine, I would look at him and I could just tell something was not right. So I called the dad and told him, from how I was observing him, I was not seeing any change. He told me to keep on observing him, keep on giving him a lot of water, na nisisahau kumpatia dawa. At around 3 in the evening, he changed, like, completely. An 8-month-old baby couldn't support his neck and could no longer sit on his own. And by this time, I felt so weak. Mnajua tu, ukiangalianga mtoto wako uone hafeel vizuri, you know how it feels like. It's a bad feeling. So again, I called the dad and told him what was happening. He immediately came back, na vile alifika, we were all confused, like vile tu alimuona, me already my mind was away, and also for him vile tu alimuangalia hivi akamuona, you could tell that he was not in his right senses. Alifika akamuona, akamchukua immediately, and he took him to the hospital. I was left packing the things that he needed, because remember, this is a baby that had diarrhea and needed a lot of diapers. This was a baby that was vomiting a lot and needed to be changed, as in lazima ungemchange nguo every once and then. So I had to pack a lot of stuffs. They proceeded to the hospital first. Also, ile hosi yenye waliniambia wameenda, hawakuenda huko. So me, I followed them to the wrong hospital. Nikawatafuta, nikawakosa. Remember, I told you there was a lot of confusion. Kwenye walikuwa pia, he didn't recall that he had told me that they were going in a different hospital. So he called me after some few minutes, either minutes or hours, I can't recall. He called me and told me the hospital that he had taken him. Immediately I followed them there, and when I got there, I couldn't see them anywhere, and the place was very quiet. So I sat on the waiting area. By this time, the doctors had already known me, and of course, because of my baby had a name that didn't have, actually not didn't have, he had a name, a very, I don't know how to explain it. He had a name that had not been had anywhere else. He was, as I said, he was called Creative. So I was already known in the hospital because of his name. So the doctor comes and tell me, Mama Baraka, wako huku ndani. He points at uko kwenye walikuwa. And I walked in, and the first thing I saw was my baby lying on the bed, surrounded by like all the doctors in the hospital. They were attending to him, and at that point I couldn't control myself, because I saw how bad he was. I saw how bad his situation was. But later on, his situation was stabilized, and he could now even take something. I remember he took some yogurt, and he still took some water. And at that point, he ungeona tu kako na nguvu fulani, because he could look at you and smile. So akawekwa maji, then we were admitted. At around 9 p.m. we were taken to the children's ward, and we were given a bed there. We stayed throughout the night until around 2 a.m. Around 2 a.m., the dad decided to go home and get more diapers na nguo because he needed them a lot. Also remember, I had called him from work. He was tired, he needed to rest. He had not even showered. So I let him go home and I was left in the hospital with the baby. After he left, few minutes later, mtoto akaanza kubreathe very funny. You could tell that hiyo haikuwa a normal breathing. I immediately called the nurses and when they came, they checked on him and they were running all over the place. I couldn't tell what was wrong because they were not talking to me. Then the doctor comes in and told me the baby needed to be put on oxygen. They needed to put him on oxygen because he had already begun having difficulties in breathing. So he was put on oxygen and I watched my baby helplessly sleeping on that hospital bed, and I couldn't take the pain. So I called the dad back. Akakuja immediately. I remember we were the only people in the ward, and also I remember immediately on the entrance, kwa hiyo kitanda ya kwanza, there was a Bible there. And I remember him walking. Alikuwa anatembea ameshikilia hivi Biblia kwa ward, praying so hard, asking God for a second chance. Of our baby's life. He really played, and I can even recall he was going around the world singing, Umenipa uhai Baba. And so my baby was on oxygen the whole of that night. And in the morning, when the morning doctor came in, after checking on him, he said that, actually let me quote his words. Let me quote what he said. This baby is doing badly. He's in a very bad condition. And he needs to be transferred to Kenyatta immediately. And the situation was so bad that he couldn't even be transferred using a private means of transport. He needed an ambulance. needed an ambulance. So daktari akatuambia he's going to his office at least to make some connections at Kenyatta, so that when we get there we won't be delayed. Like tukifika huko they would attend to us immediately. I started packing. And I remember at some point I felt so weak. I went to the toilet, nikajifungia ndani and cried so hard. I remember the hospital is in Kahawa Sukari. But while I was in the toilet, I could hear the siren of the ambulance from as far as Githurai. And that really broke me. But again, I'm a mother. I had to be strong for my baby. So we packed and the ambulance was already there. Nurse na babake wakambeba wakateremka chini. Then I was behind them carrying the bag, and on the other hand I had his basin. So tuko hapo kwa ambulance. Tuko hapo kwa ambulance. As in ako ndani anawekwa oxygen. Then I'm standing right behind the ambulance na vitu zetu nimezibeba hivi na mkono, na ngoja wamalize niingie tuende. I really can't remember what happened. I think I fainted, because the next thing I can remember, when I woke up, from where I was, the first thing I saw was the nurse carrying my baby like this, heading on to the nursing room. And I remember she was saying kamekunywa maziwa mingi, because during the night he was not breastfeeding. I was pumping the milk for him. The nurse was saying kamekunywa maziwa mingi hadi inatoka na mapua. At the back of my mind, I thought that he had gotten well, and he no longer needed to go to Kenyatta. He no longer needed to go to Kenyatta. Few minutes later, the doctor called me in the nursing room, and I found my baby sleeping on the bed very peacefully. Very peaceful. For a moment I thought maybe he was sleeping. I don't know. A lot of things were going through my mind. Then the doctor says, Mama Baraka, we are sorry, we tried all we could. But he didn't make it. At first, I didn't get it. At first, it didn't get to my mind what he was saying. I only see this in movies. There was no way it was going to happen to me. Let alone in heat that my baby had died. I had lost my baby. And I remember coming out of that room shouting, crying so hard. Going back to the room again, trying to call him, telling him, baby, wake up. But it was too late. There was nothing I could have done. Seeing your baby lying helplessly dead, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing I could do about it. I felt very useless, and that was the lowest moment of my life. In just 3 days, he was gone, and gone forever. And that was it. Five years later, yes, he's dead, he's gone, but he'll never be forgotten. He will never be forgotten. So that is what happened to Baraka. And may God rest his soul in peace.